So One Last Time is about that relationship that maybe finished and maybe shouldn't have finished and you're not quite sure. So it's kind of about thinking, could you just have another chance, one last try?
If I'd have known that the middle was the end, would have done things differently, things I would have said. You should have told me what was on your mind. Instead you sold me how I wish I tried.
So Boundaries is really came about after a discussion with the co-writers on this one. We were discussing about the fact about, you know, the wars in the world, about borders between countries, and who's to say where a border actually is. You know, borders have moved over time, and really a border is just a line on a map and that someone drew once, and people will give their lives for that line on a map. And it's just kind of around the whole thing of, you know, there are no borders really. When the world was created, there weren't any borders, there weren't any boundaries. We've arbitrarily drawn boundaries and borders on a map, and we've made up rules around that.
There are no boundaries to all in our minds. We're building up walls that we're hiding behind. There are no boundaries. There are no boundaries.
Cuts and Bruises is the title track of the album, and this one came about as one of those songs where we actually spoke about the subject matter for about 4 or 5 hours, and then the music of the song came together in like an hour or two. It was a long discussion, and I can't remember where the first seed of the idea came from, but with the co-writers we're talking about when you're young, your mum has this medicine box, and in that medicine box are like pills, potions and lotions, and they can fix any problem. You know, if you fall over and hurt your knee, or you get stung by a bee, or you've got a funny rash, or whatever there is going on, there's always something in that medicine box that can fix things. But when you get a bit older and your injuries aren't such physical injuries, they're maybe more emotional injuries, when you have a relationship breakdown, for example, then suddenly there isn't a medicine box. Your mum can't always fix it. And really it's a song about, you know, how sometimes there isn't anything in a medicine box that can fix a problem that you've got, and sometimes you just got to work through it.
Some things go deeper than cuts and bruises. Some things take longer to heal. Is there anything in the medicine box to fix this? 'Cause it hurts. 'Cause it hurts.
The songs are a collection of songs, all written on songwriting retreats, and generally on the songwriting retreats, the way it works is you get into a group with another couple of writers, and often the sort of conversation is, you know, what's on your mind, what's an issue maybe that we could write a song about, because generally a song is much better if it's written about something from the heart, you know, rather than just imagining something that might happen. If it's something that means something to someone, it's generally a better song because it's written from a better place. So often the songs are about things that were on the minds of the writers, or had been on their minds, or some sort of emotional experience they might have had, which is why pretty much all the songs on the album are about some sort of emotional experience in life. You know, they're the cuts and bruises that we take in life, and hence Cuts and Bruises becoming the title track of the album, because they just kind of sum it up really, that the song is about cuts and bruises. It's about the knocks that we take in life as we go through, and how we might deal with those, and, you know, the different emotions that life's journey is all about. It's from happiness and falling in love, it's from losing someone, it's from breaking up, it's from getting back together. That's what life's all about, and that's what the album's about really. So Misread is all about misreading. So the idea of this song was that sometimes when you're out, you might catch someone's eye and you might make eye contact for a little bit too long. And you might sometimes think, do they like me? Or do they just think they recognise me or somebody else? Or, yeah, was there anything in that look? And yeah, from the songwriters I worked with on this one, we'd all experienced scenarios where, yeah, maybe there's someone we'd seen regularly and we sort of glanced at them and we exchanged eye contact, and we sometimes wonder, was there anything more in that look or not? So we decided to sort of write a song about misreading the signals, and you know, sometimes that someone needs to make the first move. Really, that's what the song's about. It's like, should I make the first move or not? Because someone's got to, and if you're both nervous of making the first move, then it never happens. It's you know, it's just a could have been. So and we did the sort of play on words with the character in the song wearing a red dress. So in the guy's mind, he sees this girl and she's his Miss Red because she wears this red dress. So it just kind of works quite clever play on words with Miss Red and Miss Red. So it's all about what might have been if only one of you could have had the courage to pipe up and maybe make the signals a little bit clearer. So Without You Around is a song really about a relationship going stale, and the idea is that you know, in the early days of a relationship, that kind of honeymoon period, there's a lyric in it about you strung the stars up in the sky. So you know that your partner couldn't go to too much trouble for you in the early happy honeymoon period of a relationship, but as things get a little bit older and tired, then they don't make so much effort, and maybe you start to wonder, did you make the right decision with this relationship? And actually you're starting to wonder what life would be like without that person around, and maybe with someone else. And there's sort of lines in there that allude to maybe just thinking about other options that you might have had, and should you have gone with one of those options when you had the chance and you didn't. And you're just kind of thinking, you know, it's kind of just a thoughtful song about what would life be like if you weren't where you were right now. Break Together is basically about splitting up and staying friends. So you know, there might be someone that you've spent a chapter of your life with, you've enjoyed some great times, and when that relationship comes to an end, you know, you don't want to fight, you don't want to be enemies, you just want to be friends, but you know, you realise that for both of you, you just need to move on. So the idea is, you know, you can break but still be friends, still be together, and there's a line in it about I'll still hold your hand, you know, and I'll be there for you, but we're not going to be an item anymore.
Now we've come undone. This love won't last forever. I thought you were the one. I'll still hold your hand. I will be right there. We can break together. We can break together.
So No Guarantee was actually kind of came about from a story actually that I kind of read in the newspaper. It was something that I personally experienced. So what happened was I was living down in Whitstable at the time, and I became aware of this kind of homeless guy that was literally sleeping rough below the beach huts, and I would take the dogs out for a walk a couple of times a day, and sometimes I'd see this guy sleeping under the beach huts on the beach, and he was often, you know, you could see he was drunk and he was unkempt, you know, looked a mess, looked like your stereotypical vagrant type person. And then one day I didn't see him anymore, and a couple of months later I read in a local newspaper, and it was basically the story was the inquest for his death, and he'd actually drunk himself to death under these beach huts. And what really struck me though, my immediate thought was, why didn't I make any effort? You know, I felt so bad that I never tried talking to him, finding out what his problem was. I just steered clear really. But the other thing was, the story spoke about how up until a couple of months before he died, he'd been like a stereotypical family man, nice house, wife, kids, and had the normal life, and something had happened which had just turned his life. He'd split up with his partner, he had left the family home and started living rough. He'd hit the bottle and he'd gone in a downward spiral, and within a couple of months he was dead. And you know, I kind of really stuck with me. And No Guarantee is really just about how life for all of us has no guarantees. You don't know what might happen. Something could happen in any of our lives which could suddenly massively change our fortunes, and who knows where we might end up. So there's no guarantee.
I drink too much, a heavy touch, or just bad luck. Remember these words he said to me. No guarantee in this life. There's no guarantee, no guarantee, no guarantee in this life. There's no guarantee, no guarantee.
So Ordinary was written with Hattie, who sings on it, and this is a song about falling in love. It's about you meet someone and you fall in love, and just everything about them is just so right. You know, the first time you meet them, you literally dance all night until the next day, and suddenly they just, you know, the line of songs, you turn the ordinary into gold, and it's like your life just lights up because this person is in your life. For everyone, there's probably going to be at least a song they can relate to, because there's going to be some life experience they've been through, whether it's losing someone, falling in love, breaking up with someone. You know, we've all been through it, and I think, you know, very much in the same way that, you know, Adele's "Someone Like You" song was just such a big hit, because we could all relate to that, and there were some real moving lyrics in that song, you know, which I just think has a sort of global resonance with people. And I think that this album as well, you know, it's all from the heart, it's all emotional experiences, and many people will have experienced many of these things themselves, and you know, maybe the song will help them think about that, deal with it. Maybe it's a song they want to send to someone else to tell them what they really think. So yeah, that's the album. Okay, so I See You is it's confused a few people, this, because the story starts out and you see all the good things in this person, in your partner, and everything's sweetness and light, but then you start seeing some other things. You start noticing that they're hiding their phone, that they're staying out late, and the inference is that they're actually having an affair. They've got someone else, and they think that you don't know, but actually you do know. You know what's going on. So the I See You is basically, I see you. You know, you don't think that I see what's going on, but I see what's going on here. So that's the message. I see you. So Last Up on the Line, quite an emotional song really. This was written with Ben and Joe, and the day that we wrote this, we actually, Ben actually got a phone call to say that his grandmother had passed away the night before, and obviously that was the topic of conversation, because we were kind of consoling him because he'd lost a family member, and we got talking about grandparents and all the things that grandparents do for us when we're young, and how they, you know, help us out in life, and they're always there for us, and for many of us, you know, they're almost like pseudo parents as well. So we're just talking about all the things that they did, and really it's a message about, you know, meeting them again. You know, that so the last stop on the line is basically where we go to when we leave this earth. And you know, there's lines in the song about, you know, I'll see you at the station, but I don't know what time. As in, I don't know what time I'm gonna be where you've gone to, but I'll be there one day, and I'm gonna see you at the last stop on the line. So it's a kind of thanks song for all the things that grandparents do for us. And it's you know, it's a message to all the people that may be passed on, that we'll see them again one day. Don't know where, don't know when, but we're going to see them again.
Tears at the station, at the last stop on the line.
So the album is available from the 1st of January on all major platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Deezer, etc. And you'll get it. The artist name is SIIMON, SIIMON, and the title of the album is Cuts and Bruises.
We've joined a journey, how we cry. But I'll see you at the station, and I don't know what time. You bought your ticket, but I haven't got mine. Like when I was little, you said it's fine. Dry my tears at the station, at the last stop on reflection of the last star.